Are the USBC going to ban urethane bowling balls? Well, that's the big rumour that everyone is talking about, and it's mainly been sparked by a post by the USBC on social media where they expressed concerns about the use of urethane equipment and posted a poll to essentially find out what bowlers thought of the urethane situation. Essentially, the poll is just one question with 5 possible answers, which were: allow urethane with tighter specifications, e.g. a minimum 78 hardness, ban urethane from all USBC certified competition, national, state and local, ban urethane from USBC national tournaments only, continue allowing urethane, no changes needed, or this doesn't affect me, I'm not concerned about this topic. This feedback will then be presented to the Equipment Specifications Committee during their next meeting, scheduled for late August, early September. After this, we should have a clearer idea of what further action, if any, will be taken. There are rumours though that the ball manufacturers have already been told that there will be a ban on urethane and urethane-like balls, but perhaps a big sign that the manufacturers have been anticipating such a ban or further restrictions is the lack of urethane releases. The last time an actual urethane ball was released was back in March 2024, which was the Black Pearl urethane by Hammer. So the rumour mill is in overdrive and everyone is wondering what exactly will happen, but in this video I wanted to break down the 4 concerns the USBC expressed and discuss if a total urethane ban is fair based on those concerns. We'll start with the first point and I'll read out exactly what they wrote. Lane pattern integrity. Urethane balls can alter lane patterns more quickly, disrupting the intended lane pattern design and creating imbalances between different styles of players. Now, my first thought about this is that yes, urethane does alter the lane pattern, but so do many other things. Isn't that the whole purpose and challenge of lane patterns, how they break down and how you adapt? So even if you got rid of urethane, what about the high rev players, in particular the two-handers? I would argue that the high rev players alter the pattern just as much as urethane does. So I'm not sold at all on that concern because I think there are many factors that can change the lane pattern so quickly and therefore create imbalances between players. This is somewhat connected to concern number 2, which is competitive fairness. When urethane and reactive equipment are both used in the same competitive environment, it causes competitive imbalances between different styles of bowlers. I think this point has some validity, as there are some styles of bowlers that favour reactive more than urethane, and vice versa. So when urethane is in play, you could definitely argue that the players whose styles do not fit with urethane could have a disadvantage. But then it comes down to the skill of the player, how they can adapt and make it work. A good player should be able to compete whether they use urethane or reactive. And okay, it's one example, but look at the best player in the world, EJ Tackett. He very rarely uses urethane, predominantly uses reactive, and he's the best player in the world. And anyway, I would argue again there will always be imbalances in bowling no matter what you do. It's never going to be a completely equal playing field. One type of player always has an advantage because certain players are always going to match up instantly on certain patterns. But it's then down to the other players to figure out a way to score and make the adjustments needed. And that's the test of whether a player is a good player or a great player. Because if a great player wants to use reactive and doesn't want to touch urethane, then they will find a way to make it work. You're never going to have a situation where there are no imbalances, in my opinion. Let's go on to point number 3. Player development concerns. Increasing reliance on urethane may reduce player versatility and hinder long-term skill development, particularly among younger and developing athletes. This is actually a very interesting point, and this post from the USBC prompted some PPA bowlers to give their thoughts, including Anthony Simonson. This is what Simonson posted on social media. What benefits does a urethane ball bring to the sport of bowling? I know a negative. 99% of the people under the age of 25 have zero touch. Ball hooks too much, grab a urethane ball. Ball doesn't hook enough, grab a urethane ball. Maybe if urethane gets banned, the youth of today will learn how to bowl again. So that was a direct quote from a post Anthony Simonson put out on social media. Now I understand what both the USBC and Simonson are saying here, and it is true, young players are basically reliant on urethane. It's not just another tool for them, it's a necessity. Many of them don't have a strong skill set in using reactive, but that's not their fault. It's just the era they have been born into. It's all they know. And anyway, a good player will learn to use reactive. They will know it's not good to be a one-trick pony, but I think this is the same thing we've had in every generation. When reactives first arrived, the reaction was the same. People wanted them banned. But when it was clear they were staying, bowlers had to find a way to adapt, particularly the lower rev rate players. But going back to the point of the young generation of bowlers, you could look at it as them having less skill, or you could look at it as a clever move. They are keeping things simple and essentially just doing what works. The only reason everybody is using urethane is because it's working. If it wasn't working, people wouldn't use it. It's as simple as that. So you can't blame the bowlers for doing it and not working on the skill of using reactive, because right now the environment is favouring the use of urethane. Reactive a lot of the time now is just not even necessary. You could basically always seem to use urethane with the environment we have right now. The only way to change that, apart from banning urethane, is to change the environment, change the patterns that are being put down. Let's move on to the fourth and final point: governance and integrity challenges. Urethane balls can measure softer over time, making it difficult to distinguish between natural aging and tampering. These issues have contributed to protest and confusion at events, creating enforcement challenges and questions around competitive integrity. Obviously, the softness issue is what started this urethane debate, with the PBA then bringing in the 78 hardness rule. I agree with the statement that there is confusion in events, but I feel that confusion has come since the 78 rule has been introduced. Tournaments all over the world are starting to have different rules, and it all feels unclear at times. When urethane balls are softer, it does affect the performance, and if you are going to enforce that rule, as they're obviously trying to do, I do agree it is a difficult thing to enforce and it does create challenges. Let me basically sum everything up here. I think the biggest problem you have if you ban urethane is, where does it end? This post spoke a lot about fairness and competitive balance, but as I mentioned earlier, there's always going to be imbalance. That's the nature of the game. There's always going to be ways to exploit the game. If urethane is banned, then players will eventually find a new way to find the so-called cheat code. What is interesting is the rumour that the manufacturers have been informed about a ban and future rules on urethane, but also urethane-like balls. And it will be very interesting to see what those rules could be and how the manufacturers will be able to get around those restrictions and still produce urethane-like balls. That demand will not go away. People are still going to want the urethane-like reaction, and I'm sure the manufacturers will find a way to deliver that. I think there's a lot of pros and cons to all of this. I can see the point of view from the people who want to ban it, but just reading through those 4 points and the 4 concerns, I personally don't think they're quite strong enough to actually go ahead and say, right, we're going to ban urethane. I've said it before on this channel recently, I think we probably should just go ahead and ban urethane, not because it's necessarily the right thing to do, but just because that feels like the way we're heading. And to be honest, I was right in saying that, because with this new poll and these new comments from the USBC, it does seem clear that they're not happy with the situation, which is fine, but we don't yet know what the next steps are going to be. And that's the thing I said before, it's so much confusion, so many rule changes, nobody knows what's going on. Let's just make a decision one way or the other. We either just allow it, keep it going. You know, if you want to enforce the 78 hardness rule, okay, stick with that, but just allow urethane, or just come out and ban it across the board. Don't just do it on the PBA or the national USBC events. If you're going to ban it, you have to just go out and be strong and say, right, that's it, it's banned everywhere. I think that's probably the only way it would work if you're going to bring in a ban. Now, nothing is official yet, but it feels like the writing is on the wall. I think by September, October, we will have some more indication of what the next move will be, but anything could happen. The USBC has not come out and said they want it banned. They've not said that. They're just expressing their concerns, getting the feedback, and then looking at the options. So it might be urethane is still permitted, but with some stricter rules. Time will tell, but if the rumours are true, the days of urethane are almost over. So that will bring us to an end of today's video. I would love to hear your thoughts on this one. Let me know whether you think urethane should be banned, or do you think we should carry on and maybe bring in some other restrictions or stick with the 78 rule. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you very, very soon on a future video. And as always, Thank you, bowling fans, and see you all next time.